JRPGs are a wonderful thing. They have certain identifiable characteristics that make them so enjoyable, such as flashy combat, XP grinding, creative enemy designs, questionable fashion choices, epic world building, rich storylines, multiple playable characters, and more. They have a certain flamboyancy and whimsy that other games lack, which is an aspect I truly adore. It's because of these things that JRPGs are so popular and result in long-running game series that are revered by fans. You will not find a more dedicated and passionate fan base than JRPG lovers, because these games are so magical and soulful. I have previously uploaded a video highlighting 5 of what I believe to be the best JRPGs of the last decade, and after promising a part 2 to that video some time ago, it's finally here! Hello, I'm Heather at Amalgamingle, and today I want to outline 5 more of the best JRPGs of the last decade. Please note that there will be some gameplay spoilers ahead, as I will be showing some exciting footage of in-game rewards, combat abilities and boss battles, but there will be no major story spoilers. Also, some of these entries may surprise you, so please remember that this list is not based on sales statistics, it is merely my picks based on the JRPGs that I have played and enjoyed. Octopath Traveler is a fantastic turn-based JRPG with a unique HD 2D graphic style and branching storytelling across 8 playable adventurers. It is truly an excellent game that you can get lost in and succeeds in bringing more of a traditional gaming style to modern audiences. Although the game can feel very grindy and has some absolutely ridiculous difficulty spikes, it has a superior battle system that feels engaging, challenging, strategic, diverse and fast-paced compared to other turn-based combat systems I've experienced. Each of the 8 playable characters have their own combat styles and abilities, but all of them share the ability to accrue boost points and perform stackable boost attacks that are very satisfying to execute. This game did surprise me in a lot of ways and greatly rewards explorers with perks that I won't spoil here. Each character naturally has their own character class, which comes hand in hand with a unique talent and path action that allows them to interact with NPCs in different ways. Some can gain items and information that progress the story or reveal hidden treasures, whilst others can challenge NPCs to duels or recruit summonable NPCs to later aid in battle or guide them to their destination. The path action system is a very interesting idea that adds an extra layer to the gameplay. It's difficult to discuss and plug Octopath Traveler to people without giving away any big spoilers, but trust me when I say this game is worth your time and effort. It's an impressive, surprisingly large game that exceeded my expectations in its scope and gameplay. I do hope that Octopath Traveler 2, that I believe is due to be released in February 2023, will retain the charm of the first game, whilst introducing new mechanics and improving upon a few elements, such as the lengthy boss battles, high pricing of goods, lack of alchemical formula tracking in the menu screen for apothecary characters, making concocting a complete guessing game, and the ability to always view enemies' health bars in battle, or switch out your starting character until you finish their questline. If they change those things for Octopath Traveler 2, then it will be gaming perfection. Whilst introducing some new and exciting concepts. Players follow the story of Alphen, who seeks to end the oppression of Dana under the rule of Renna, while searching for answers about his own past. Alphen is accompanied by Shion, a Renna who looks to change her own fate and is pulled into Alphen's journey alongside several other playable characters, who join the party with their own motivations, backstories and combat talents. Although this is not my favourite Tales of game, it is a fantastic game and a huge step forward for the Tales of series, in some respects. I'm sure there are lots of people that would disagree with me here, but my biggest gripe about the game is that the characters were, in my opinion, a little boring and lacking in personality. Although I normally enjoy skits in Tales games, and I loved the new sleek looking skit style, I did not appreciate being a skit hostage, having to listen to extremely lengthy skits that were often stacked one after the other. especially when I didn't care about the characters. This is likely due to being used to eccentric, over-the-top party members, and they really scaled back the big personalities and energy found in previous Tales games. It's hard to believe that the voice actor who voiced the crazy, bubbly Magilu in Berseria is the same voice actor for the reserved, monotone Shion. Despite these things, there is a lot to like about this game. The graphics are wonderful, the story is interesting, and Hootle was absolutely adorable. I loved hunting down those Danan owls. Each location you explore is beautiful. You get to see lots of different terrains, and your character can also swim, which is a first for a Tales of game, as far as I'm aware. Admittedly, I've not played them all. But the combat has to be the best part of this game. After remapping the buttons in a way that felt more comfortable to me, the combat felt sleek, streamlined and fun. The mystic arts and boost strikes you can perform have impressive animations and feel very impactful and pleasant to execute. If you haven't played this game yet, then I highly recommend playing it. Ideally, after playing some of the older Tales games first, so you can fully appreciate how the series has developed. Considering how much of a Wrath of the White Witch fangirl I am, it might shock you that Revenant Kingdom is not further down in this list. To be very honest with you, that's primarily due to how far removed Revenant Kingdom is from its predecessor. Revenant Kingdom ditched a lot of the primary mechanics from the first game and went in a whole new direction, making it feel like a different, albeit still fantastic, standalone game. The story follows Evan Pettywhisker Tildrum as he suffers a coup and, rather than attempting to take back his own kingdom of Ding Dong Dell, he decides to build an entirely new city instead and try to unite all the kingdoms in peace under his Evermore banner, which is totally not dictatorship in disguise or anything. Wouldn't that have been brilliant if Crossworlds followed the story of someone else trying to overthrow the now power-mad, tyrannical dictator King Tildrum?
I'm going to build a kingdom where everyone can live happily ever after.
Instead of it being the atrocious, regrettable mess it ended up being. But before I start going off on a massive Crossworlds rant, let's get back to Revenant Kingdom. Personally, I do prefer Wrath of the White Witch because that game felt like more love went into its creation. But Revenant Kingdom has so much to offer, and thankfully it managed to retain the quirkiness of the first game, whilst introducing a lot of new things that are brilliant, such as the city building and skirmishes. What makes this game so great is the gameplay itself. The combat was fantastic. Revenant Kingdom ditched the part turn-based, part live-action hybrid combat system of Wrath of the White Witch in favour of full live-action hack-and-slash style battles. Even if you love the combat system of the first game, there is no denying that this was the correct decision for level 5, and this new style went down well with new and existing Ni no Kuni fans. Instead of taming and using familiars in battle, you accumulate and are assisted by adorable yet strangely creepy creatures called Higgledies, who have a lot of useful combat talents. Naturally, you can switch between party members that join your team as you progress through the game, and each have their own unique abilities. The world design is excellent, with lots of different terrains and towns with varying styles and cultures. The one aspect which I believe the game is superior to the first game is when it comes to traversing the large open world in the boat and Zeppelin, which are a lot faster than the boat and dragon in Wrath of the White Witch, are so fun that it makes you want to never use fast travel. This game has many different things you can do. If you don't fancy continuing in the main story for a while, then you can take a break and explore caves, towns, the overworld, find Higgledy stones, do side quests, battle tainted monsters, level up the many separate things that require leveling up, or participate in larger scale battles called skirmishes. You can also work on building your city of Evermore, which was an unexpected but very welcome element of the game. Anyway, on to my next pick.
You owe me!
Oh, flippin' heck.
Trials of Mana is the third instalment in the Mana series and is a remake of the hit 1995 classic RPG set in a colourful fantasy world. In a nutshell, the player controls 3 spirited heroes accompanied by a fairy in a quest to find the legendary Mana Sword to stop Benevodon monsters being unleashed. Each playable character has their own motivations, personalities, storyline, character class and combat abilities. With a huge world to explore, an excellent live action combat system, wonderful graphics style, a brand new abilities system, and different interconnecting character subplots, Trials of Mana exceeded all of my expectations. I was so surprised at how much I enjoyed this game, and I must have played it 3 times back to back because the game has such high replayability. This is in no small part due to the customizability of the journey, based on the characters you choose that determines how the story unfolds, who the main villain is, the nature of combat, and even where the game begins. I love the live action combat, it feels very fine tuned and satisfying. You can run around the battlefield performing melee and aerial attacks, dodging and rolling, collecting CS particles to fill up your blue gauge which allows you to perform special attacks. There's also experience bonuses for fulfilling certain battle conditions, such as defeating an enemy within a certain time frame or without taking any damage. It's a very good battle system. My only issue with this game is that the voice acting is a little bit on the slow side. I'm not sure why, but the line deliveries seem very slow with really long pauses in strange places. This is only a minor gripe though, which definitely doesn't undermine the enjoyment of the game.
Monstrums, the time is nigh.
Being new to the East series, the first game I played was Lacrimosa of Dana, and although it was a fun game, it didn't grab me in the same way other JRPGs have. Despite this, I decided to give Monstrum Nox a try after it was added to PlayStation Plus Premium, and wow, I am so glad I did. I can see why East 9 is more adored than its predecessor. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. The story follows adventurer and Balduke prison escapee Adol, who is cursed with monstrum powers after being shot with a magic bullet during his escape. As the latest addition to a band of 5 other playable monstrums, Adol sets out to find a way to break the curse whilst investigating the mysteries of Balduke prison and getting to know each monstrum in turn as the story progresses. The monstrums are frequently summoned to an alternate dimension called the Grimwald Nox by their leader Aprilis, where they must quell the monster threat. None of the monstrums seem to know the reason behind their activities, and Adol resolves to discover the meaning of this curse while systematically disabling the many barriers around the town of Balduke that restrict his movements and prevent him from leaving as part of his curse. My summary of the overall plot is very basic, but I can't go into more detail without giving away a few spoilers. But the story is very well paced and interesting. The throwbacks to previous games is also delightful. Each monstrum is a playable character and all have their own unique combat abilities and skills that can aid exploration as you search the town to find treasure chests, graffiti, landmarks, information, azure petals and materials. There is a lot to do in this game. There are side quests, rewards for exploring and unveiling more of the map, barriers to disable, monsters to defeat and more. Traversing the town is extremely enjoyable, particularly once you begin to share additional powers with each monstrum that joins your party. The Crimson Line power you start your game with, which allows the user to pull themselves across distances towards red anchor points, is thrilling in itself and reminiscent of the ability to zipline across gaps and traverse environments in Devil May Cry 4. I won't give away all the monstrum powers, but you can use Doll's third eye ability to reveal what can't be seen with the naked eye, and even glide through the air using Hawk's Hunter's Descent ability. All the powers are absolute genius. Together, they make things very exciting and increases the scope of the game in new and interesting ways. The live action combat in this game is one of the best things about it. Difficulty wise, the game feels well balanced. Battles are so chaotic that onlookers would wonder what on earth they are even looking at, but for the player every action is purposeful and strategic. There is a boosting mechanic and you can toggle between characters and use their varying combat abilities based on the enemy type and weaknesses. I just love the chaos of facing the enemy hordes or running around smashing lacrimae against the clock. The boss battles are very creative and are the right level of challenging and duration. They just did everything right, which is why Monstrum Nox is my number 1 pick. So there we have it. There are my top picks of the best JRPGs of the last decade, part 2. There are so many brilliant JRPGs out there that deserve to be featured on this list, but the ones I mentioned were just so enjoyable to play. I'm sure there's some people out there that would have expected to see other games like Dark Souls, but this list is more for JRPGs if viewed as a genre with distinguishable features, rather than just RPGs from Japan. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this list, and please let me know in the comments if you agree with my entries. I've been Heather at Amalgamingle, and thank you very much for watching.